This is from Vomo Panther. A lot of talk is about how Wisconsin hiring Luke Fickell for a divisionless Big Ten. With the Mel Tucker situation, how's Michigan State going to prepare with a new coach and staff? Could Michigan State consider getting Phil Parker or LeVar Woods from the Iowa staff? Oh, we just mentioned them. So I don't know. Does Phil Parker want to be a head coach? Because I would think he would already been one by now. He's been an elite defensive coordinator for a long, long time. LeVar Woods, I'm just looking at that as he's probably Iowa's next head coach when Kirk Ferentz gets done. So I don't know that I would want to leave. Although if I'm Michigan State, I do make inquiries. Would you possibly be interested? You know who else I'd make inquiries to? Sherrone Moore. Because if Jim Harbaugh is going to stay at Michigan, why not pull the double whammy? Take the guy who feels like one of the biggest rising stars in college football and take something really important away from one of your rivals. But the question is, who would you go for? Like, what type of coach do you want at Michigan State? You know, I think their idea with Tucker and the vision that he sold them was, I am going to recruit like my former bosses did at Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State. And he got those players to come look at East Lansing, but it was a struggle to get them to sign. And I think what you have at Wisconsin is Luke Fickell trying to do the same thing, though his hit rate at Cincinnati quite a bit better, where he got guys that would not normally consider Cincinnati to sign with Cincinnati and then develop them. So I suspect that Luke Fickell is going to be able to do that at Wisconsin. The question is, if you're Michigan State, do you try that again, or do you go a little bit different route? Now, I will say I don't think the Mark D'Antonio out-evaluate, develop is going to win the Big Ten going forward. It was great when Urban Meyer either hadn't gotten to Ohio State or was about to get there, when Michigan was down, when Wisconsin was the only other team you needed to worry about with Brett Bielema. I don't think that's the case anymore. This new Big Ten, Ohio State is still raking in top talent. Michigan is as good as it's been in a long, long time. Penn State has some elite talent and seems to be capable of acquiring more. I mentioned Fickell at Wisconsin. USC's coming in. They're going to be able to recruit great players. Oregon is going to be able to recruit great players. Washington is always going to be a solidly built team. You've got to figure out what you want in that coach. So do you go rising star who you think can possibly recruit and develop players at that championship level, where you're getting highly rated recruits and then developing them, which is what Michigan does now, which is what Ohio State does, Georgia, Alabama, those types. So that would be, you probably try to attack the schools that do it, the assistants at the schools that do that. So a Sherrone Moore, a Brian Hartline at Ohio State. You know, do you do it like that? Do you go for maybe an Alex Atkins at Florida State? He's going to be a name that gets mentioned for a lot of head coaching openings once this season ends, because he's the offensive coordinator at Florida State, though Mike Norvell is the play caller. But Alex has been a play calling OC before at Charlotte. He also is the guy who resurrected Florida State's offensive line. And if you followed Florida State over the last few years, you know that them having a capable offensive line is nothing short of a miracle, given what Alex Atkins inherited. So he's going to be one. But is that the type of coach you're looking for? Or do you go the guy who's been a head coach at a bunch of different places and wins everywhere, has proven they just win? So that's your Lance Leipold at Kansas, your Willie Fritz at Tulane, your Dave Clawson at Wake Forest. Is that the type of coach you go for? Clawson turned him down last time. So I don't know if he'd be interested again, but the money might make anybody at least take a look. You know, I mentioned Clawson when Northwestern opened. I still think that's a potential possibility if Northwestern's administration flips over. But this is a better job football-wise. Willie Fritz, you know, age, you're going to look at that. But, I mean, they play really well. They play really hard. They're playing with a backup quarterback and hanging with Ole Miss. If you look at the budgets of those two programs, Tulane shouldn't be anywhere near that game, competitive in that game. So I'll throw another one in there. Jamie Chadwell at Liberty has also won at a bunch of different levels. The questions for him are always, oh, well, you've never been a Power 5 assistant, because he's always been a head coach at a lower level. Can you recruit at this level? And he's not going to be able to answer that until somebody hires him. Another name that I mentioned earlier in the show is one that I think is probably going to get a lot of attention if things keep going the way they're going. And that's Sean Lewis, the offensive coordinator at Colorado. He was the head coach at Kent State. And I think when he took the Kent State job, being a head coach in the MAC was viewed as a good stepping stone into the Power 5. But now I think Power 5 coordinator is an easier path to a big Power 5 head coaching job as opposed to a Group of 5 head coaching job. So if Lewis is producing great offenses at Colorado, then I think he's going to get looks from Power 5 schools as a head coach and after this year, because everybody's looking for something like that. And if you go back into Sean Lewis's Kent State history, he was a capable coach there. Again, the out-of-conference scheduling for them just hamstrung him every single year. I think if people pop the hood on that, they're going to say, you know what? This guy could be very successful as a Power 5 head coach. And now we've seen him do this offensively with Colorado. We're going to put him on our list. So for Michigan State, it really depends on what you want. And, given what we've seen from this administration, I don't know if they know what they want yet. They've got to figure out the Mel Tucker stuff first and then move on to that next part of it. But it really will come down to what do they want, because they'll have the money to pay. I'm assuming they're firing Mel Tucker with cause. They'll have a lot of money to pay somebody. They'll have some choices. And it may be somebody I didn't even mention, because they'll look at the dollar figure and go, oh, okay, I'd like to try that. We'll find out. Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples On 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.